Okay, so let's discuss a little bit about chapter 2. So, did you catch that he only lived in the house for a couple of days? And then he moved out into the woodshed in a bigger box. And then when he was 2 weeks old is when he moved outdoors. And I love that they gave you a visual of what his little house looked like with a little bitty entrance, and it had straw inside, and you can see how his size, and there's Fern and the pretty apple tree, really good visuals of what's going on. And I love that Fern was enchanted, and that just means, it's not a vocab word, but of course it just means she was just overly excited. She was just in a wonderful spell of having a little pet that was her very own. So that's just kind of what enchanted is. Okay, and then also let's see, the doll carriage, I think that's hilarious. So there's her doll, and then she put Wilbur in there too. Really cute. This is definitely an old-timey baby carriage. Ours look much different today, but again, it was in the 50s. And they would swim in a brook. Another word for a brook is like a creek or a river or even a small tank. They would call that a brook. And then spring. Okay, so the setting of our story, that's a new thing. Spring is in March. We just celebrated March 19th was the beginning of spring in 2020. But spring usually happens in March when animals are born and the trees start to change and bloom, and we are experiencing spring too. So in our setting of our story, we're learning that this book started around March probably, because as the book goes on, we'll go through different seasons, and so we can look back and see it started in spring, and he was a spring pig born in the spring. Now, we also introduce the Zuckermans in this chapter, and we find out that Mr. Zuckerman is called Homer, and it's Uncle Homer. So the Zuckermans are related to the Arables. Okay, so it also says you can walk down the road and visit him as much as you like. So sounds like good news if obviously Homer Zuckerman buys Fern for not Fern, but not Avery, oops, buys Wilbur for $6, which again, this is the 50s. That was not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money now, but even then, he bought the pig for $6. But if they live nearby, it's really cool that Fern will be able to go down the road to her uncle's farm, not a stranger's farm, and see Wilbur the pig. So it could have been bad news if he was sold to a farmer that took him away, but clearly this is good news because Fern will go to her uncle who lives down the road. So that's about it for this chapter. We will start chapter 3 tomorrow, called Escape. See you soon.